Conducting field inspections of your officers. You hear over the radio an officer pull over a car. You decide to respond, and upon arriving, the operator of the vehicle is in handcuffs and is seated in the rear of the cruiser. The vehicle that was pulled over has its trunk open. The officer walks over to you and informs you that he has just found approximately 10 kilos of heroin in the trunk. How do you handle the situation?
In this incident, I would have to determine whether the stop was lawful and whether there was any Fourth Amendment violations involving the incident. If I found that there was no violation of the Fourth Amendment in this incident, I would assist the officer in the resources that he needs, whether he needs additional officers to secure the scene, to secure the party, whether notifications to vice or narcotics or major crimes need to be done, and any other notifications to maybe a federal agency or a statewide task force. I would then notify the lieutenant of the incident and complete an unusual of the incident. If it was determined that it was a Fourth Amendment violation of the suspect, I would immediately conduct an investigation. I would, in determining the Fourth Amendment violation, you want to limit the liability to the police department and also limit the Fourth Amendment violation to the suspect. In my investigation, I would notify the lieutenant of the incident to see if he has any recommendations on whether to immediately release the suspect, and also possibly a prosecutor to whether to immediately release the suspect. I would also conduct interviews of the officer. I would collect any evidence that was there, videotapes, body cameras, etc. I then would complete an SIR of my investigation. In that SIR, it would conclude any policy violations by the officer. Also identify maybe training issues that might have occurred. In any policy violations, I would recommend discipline for that officer to the advocate. When recommending discipline, I would consult with the advocate about prior discipline history of that officer, and conclude recommendations for discipline to the advocate. After submitting the SIR, I would complete a limited distribution unusual about the incident and ensure that there was roll call training of the officers in my span of control, and also, after discipline was issued, ensure compliance of the officer in violation of the policies. And that concludes my answer.
Thank you, Kennedy.